welcome. My name is Prudence, and I'm going to read you a story.
Okay.
How long since somebody read you a story?
A long time.
A long time. Okay. Well, tonight's your night. Historians and storytellers share stories of our past that are known to be true because they are documented and they have evidence and eyewitness accounts. However, many real stories lack proof. So they fall into the category of legends. They are subject to change and embellishment, as in, it gets better every time I tell it. Let's go back 265 years. It was a crisp November day in 1759 in the 9-mile square section of Norwich. Anybody here from Norwich? That's good. Now, Norwich was a bustling seaport at the time, but the 9-mile square in the northern parts was farmland and pastures and forest. It was the rural section. It is a section known today as the town of Franklin, and it's about 3 miles from where we sit. There were very few travelers coming through in those days, so the arrival of a stranger bringing goods and news of the outside world, that caused considerable excitement. On this day, a Yankee peddler. Now this is where I have to look around and see how old you are. Do you know what a peddler is? Some of you know? Okay, so a traveling salesman, a door-to-door salesman, sort of. They would walk on foot or they would have a horse and cart, and they would fill their cart with goods, and they would go out into the rural parts and try to sell their wares. This is way before Amazon or whatever. Okay. So, the Yankee peddler wandered in. Word of his arrival spread quickly through the countryside. The visitor unpacked his pack, and he put his tinware, his cutlery, his yard goods, his pieces of ribbon and lace, and his sugar candies on display. All day, housewives gathered to admire and to bargain. They came on foot and on horseback until nearly sunset. The peddler had a pretty good day, and his small leather purse was heavy with coins. Before the last customers departed, the vendor inquired, "Is there an inn or a tavern nearby where I might find bed and board?" "Well," he was told, "there's no hostelry anywhere in these parts." But someone said, "Perhaps you might find lodging at the farm of Micah Rood." So he gathered his remaining goods, and he packed his pack and set off over the next ridge toward the Rood farm. He was never seen alive again. The next day, news traveled fast that the battered body of the itinerant salesman had been found murdered beneath an apple tree on Micah Rood's farm. His head had been split open as if it had been hit with a sharp instrument. His remaining goods were strewn all about, and the purse of coins was nowhere to be found. Suspicion immediately fell upon the farmer. He was known for his crotchety old disposition. He lived like a hermit. He seemed to harbor a grudge against mankind. Although the authorities conducted a thorough investigation, they were unable to produce a shred of evidence linking Micah Rood to the murder in his orchard. No pilfered goods were found. No trace of money was surfaced. The leading suspect angrily denied any knowledge of the unsavory affair and withdrew further from society and his neighbors. Over time, gossip faded. Peddler's murder was somewhat forgotten. However, when spring came, after the long winter snows melted, passers-by noticed a strange phenomenon in the orchard. The apple blossoms, instead of being a beautiful pink and white, as they always were, now they were streaked with red spots. The blossoms on the very tree that stood witness to the murder, why, those blossoms were scarlet in color. When autumn came, the orchard bore... You're an apple orchard guy, huh? Yeah, I could tell. When autumn came, the orchard bore strange fruit. Every tree produced apples whose firm white pulp was marbled through and through with red streaks and spots that resembled drops of blood. It is now widely believed that the telltale apples are definitive proof of Micah Rood's guilt. The dying peddler surely placed a curse upon his killer. Though details of the murder and its connection to the Rood family has changed and has all but disappeared, what remains to this day is the blood-cursed apples that grow in Franklin's haunted orchards. To this very day, red-streaked and spotted fruit are a reminder of one of the unsolved murder crimes in these parts. The end. Now there's a bedtime story for you. And who would like a piece of apple?
Well, good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight at Scotland's Hermitage Castle. This is my co-guide, McTavish, and she's going to tell you some things you need to know about the castle's history.
Okay, the first thing you need to know, and the most important thing, is that you need to stay close, stick together. As you know, this castle has a history of violence and terror, and there's a chance that we may encounter a redcap. That's a short, stocky, goblin-like beast with horrific features, and they've been known to lie in wait in these ruins for visitors, so this tour can suddenly turn dangerous.
Aye. And speaking of danger, I see that you've all signed your release forms.
Yep, excellent.
Excellent. Accidental death, dismemberment,
Crush injuries?
crush injuries. Aye,
The
aye.
plague? Okay,
The plague,
good.
infection.
Super.
Excellent.
Great. Oh,
We can move forward then. Scottish folklore tells us that William de Solus was a very powerful and cruel landlord who ruled through this very castle in 1318. Now, de Solus practiced the black arts and terrorized the community by stealing children of local farmers to use in his bloody rituals. This carnage got the attention of a redcap, Robin Redcap. Robin showed up at the castle doors, offering de Solus magical abilities to resist harm from steel or being bound by rope. In return, Robin was granted free reign to do as he pleased in the castle and in the lands around it. Now, I'm sure that you've all done your research and you know a thing or two about the redcaps. Aye. Good.
good. Excellent.
Excellent.
Much safer when they do the research.
Aye, aye. The ones that don't do the research, well,
Let's not talk
no, we won't talk
don't
about
talk
that.
it.
No, aye. Ah, yes. Where was I? Yes. So, Scottish folklore tells us that redcaps crave blood just as much as William de Solus. William de Solus, with these newfound magical abilities, thought himself to be invincible, and his crimes grew even darker. And Robin Redcap couldn't have been happier.
Aye, absolutely. Okay, follow us a wee bit deeper into the castle. Follow us. Do
Oh.
stay together
Aye.
for your own safety, because we do have a tendency to lose the ones at the back. don't
Aye, we
There
lost
was-
that.
I know there was that wee lassie
lass.
earlier today, and
Aye.
we did, yes.
We still don't know
Yes,
what
so
happened
stay
to her.
together. Stay together. Come on
Aye.
around. Plenty of room for everybody. Excellent.
Very good.
So, while Robin was happy, the tenants, as you can imagine, were in despair. Far too many children were vanishing, so they hatched a plan to rid themselves of de Solus forever. They cleverly fashioned a 3-stranded belt, not out of rope or out of steel, but out of lead.
Aye. Now the tenants stormed the castle, and they were horrified to find strewn about the corpses of children drained of their blood. The tenants seized the Solus, bound him using the lead belt, and boiled him alive for his crimes. Robin Redcap was nowhere to be seen.
No, indeed. And where did Robin go? Well, legends persist, but it's generally believed that he stashed an enormous treasure here at this very castle. And to this day, visitors report seeing him lurking around the ruins, searching for that treasure.
Now, be warned. Should we encounter the Redcap, it'll want to kill you for your blood. It's got iron boots to stomp you. It's got the pike staff to spear you. And if you get too close to its lair, it'll throw huge boulders at you. Any of these will produce a pool of blood. And with a Redcap, it's all about the blood. For you see, a Redcap must continuously soak its cap in blood, thus giving it a crimson hue and the reason for its name. Failing that, it dies.
Did you hear something?
Aye, I did.
Did you hear something? Okay, quick.
Quickly.
We'll go to.
Quickly.
We'll stay together. Stay together, please. Mind your head. Come on into
Aye,
the
come,
castle now.
go through.
Come
But
in.
stay close.
Stay close. Don't want to lose any of you. Come in. Stay close. I could have sworn that I heard something, but I'm not seeing anything. Oh! Oh my God! Shh! What happened?
I hear you.
Who?
The red caps.
The red caps? No. Surely not. Not again.
No,
No.
it's true.
Okay, I'm gonna call an ambulance. I'm gonna get help, okay? I'm gonna get some help. It's gonna be fine. I'm sure there's not a... Oh my God. Stay still, stay quiet. You might not see us. Oh no, he's seen us. He's seen us. Okay.
Redcap's got me!
There's...
There's more of them!
Oh no! Oh my... Okay, quickly, everybody out. Quick as you can, down the stairs. Everyone out. He's coming. Quickly, go save yourself.
We have been with you for as long as time has passed. Some believe us to be a myth, but I know you will disagree. You do not know who we are, but we know you. You see, some people in this world are destined for greatness, destined to live happy, fulfilling lives. You, I'm afraid, not one of those people. And it is our job to be sure of this. Who are we? How rude of me. Allow me to introduce us. Shame is my younger brother. Shame sits on your left shoulder.
You are a freak. You do not belong. Those voices I, Shane, whispered in your ear when your mother caught you playing with yourself as a child. I make you hate yourself.
Fear, my elder brother, as old as life. Fear sits on your right shoulder.
I fill every dark corner with monsters. I turn every single stranger on a dark street into a murderer. Fear stops you from telling the one you love how you really feel. I am the one who tells you it's better not to try than to let people see you fail. Fear builds the prison of your life.
Who, then, am I? I am the worst of your demons, but you see me as a friend. You turn to me when you have nothing left, because I live in your heart. I am the one who forces you to endure, the one who prolongs your suffering. I am hope, and hope is leaving you now.
Good evening. Welcome. My name is Miss Genevieve. You may be here to find someone who has crossed over to the other side, or to have your fortune told. Well, that is not what I do. I can look into the past, but I cannot see the future. As you look around the room tonight, you can see photo posters. This evening, we will attempt to contact the Fox sisters. For those of you who don't know, they are the force behind spiritualism as we know it today. Some say they were charlatans, fakes, but I believe they were true mediums. I have studied their work and found them fascinating. While in their state of trance, the sisters always answered questions with a number of bumps, knocks, and cracking sounds. For 40 years, they held public seances, building the belief that it is possible for the living to communicate with the dead. I sought a way to experience their insights, and while I did this, I discovered that I myself had my own gift. Up until tonight, I have managed to contact for about a second. But now, with all of you here, it might become longer. So now, if you please, place your hands palm down on the top of the table. Your pinkies should be touching the pinky of the person next to you. Are you connected? Because I'm being told that he does not have venereal distemper. You know, gonorrhea, syphilis, the pox.
Not in my hands anyway.
Oh. Well, I'm being told that you're safe, so it's okay. Now, It is very important that you do not break this contact circle. We don't know, after all, if the Fox sisters will take kindly to being disturbed. The unbroken circle is the only way that we can remain in contact with them and stay safe. Don't mind my cold, dead fingers. I will begin. Maggie and Kate Fox, we welcome you, beloved spirits, with open minds and open hearts. Are you among us? Please make your presence known in any way possible. This is a safe place. Oh, 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 Maggie and Kate, please, we're so honored. Share your story with us.
We would crack the joints of our fingers and toes to answer questions, yes? And no. After we would retire for the night, we would tie an apple on a string, pulling it up and down, causing noises on the floor as it bumped on the floor to scare our parents. It started as a harmless April Fool's joke on them. We just didn't want to go to bed. But then our older sister Leah exploited us in public halls before thousands of people. Everyone was fooled. We made so much money.
What? I don't believe this. They lied. Everything I always believed in was based on these girls. This is not right. I've studied them for so long. It says nothing in here about that. I don't feel very well. Are you feeling okay? I've done this 100 times before, and I've never let anything else in. Something is definitely not right. Holy shit. Oh my god, I've never taken a seance this far before. I did it! The girls may have lied, but I did it! Something's definitely not right. I do not feel good. It's not safe. You need to get out. Leave. Leave.
Hello over there. Can you tell me how far to Hosford Inn? That's odd. No Galloping. And the horse. And that man. Am I seeing things? He had no head. Where am I? Ah! There it is! Please, come with me.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to just take a stance over there. The bar is not open yet. Thank you. You look a little. Aha! You've seen him, the paymaster.
Yes, I saw something. You looked like a man on a horse. What?
Ah, the conditions must be just right.
Conditions?
Yes, have a seat. I'll pour you a drink and tell you the story. There you are.
Thank you, sir.
The year was 1781. A young French lieutenant, the paymaster, was bringing gold to the officers who were working along with the American army. He had his gold in saddlebags, very much like those.
I see. Please, go on.
Anyway, the paymaster was coming from Saratoga to Hartford, and he stopped at this very inn.
Did he now?
Yes, yes. He asked the innkeeper for a meal and a place to sleep, and of course, the innkeeper obliged. The one request, although the paymaster spoke very little English, was that he be woken early in the morning so he could carry on his way. The innkeeper supposedly was the only one who saw him awake the next morning, at least in the flesh.
Was nothing found?
Well, so a couple of children were fishing down at Corey Pond when all of a sudden they managed to pull up an old saddle and some horse bones. One of the horse bones had a horseshoe on it with the standard French design. Speculations from the townsfolk was that the innkeeper actually had murdered him for the gold, but nothing was ever proven.
What of the inn?
Oh, the inn itself. Well, shortly after, all of a sudden, they started to have a bunch of new amenities. Yes. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It's very curious indeed. It is a very fine inn.
Oh, it's one of the finest. I love this place. I love working here. Yes.
Do you smell something? Like something burning?
No, I don't smell anything at all. Do you smell anything? No, no one smells anything.
Well, I must be off.
What?
Thank you for the drink and the tale.
Of course, of course.
Aha! I knew something was afoot. Fire at Hosford House. Remains found being of just bones. But the skull was missing, reportedly. During the Revolutionary War. I must investigate. What is this? Wait a minute. Same coat. Right down to the buttons. Oh my god. Mon Dieu! That's me. During the Revolutionary War, the bartender was talking about me. How could that be me? No. 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 No! Get out!
Hoosick Mountain lies here in the rugged Berkshire Hills of western Massachusetts. In 1851, work began on the Hoosick Railroad Tunnel, running in a straight line along the Deerfield River. At its completion, the tunnel would be the world's second longest at just under 5 miles. Hundreds of workers, using mostly picks and shovels, chipped away at this massive mountain for 24 years, often clearing just 2 feet per day. It was arduous work, to say the least, and it came with more than its share of peril. Of the nearly 800 men who started work on the tunnel, some 200 died in what came to be known as the Bloody Pit. Death and injury were attributed to falling rocks, cave-ins, fires, and even flooding. Tragically, too, early experiments in blasting with nitroglycerin also claimed a large number of them. It's a true story of blood, sweat, and tears, and tragedy. A story of vanished friends, strange sounds, apparitions, and grown men's sound of mind filled with unrelenting fear. Here are the victims and the fate they met. David Widow, killed in explosion September 72. John McGowan, killed in fire December 1870. James Gallagher, killed in falling rocks, July 1871.
My name is Paul Travers. I am a mechanical engineer assigned to oversee the Hoosick project. And this is Ralph Dunn, one of the construction managers.
We're here because the miners are reporting to be in fear. They claim they've been hearing a man's voice crying out in agony while they're working. Many are now refusing to even enter the tunnel after nightfall. Time and time again, we've assured them that these sounds are nothing more than the sweep of wind. The miners aren't trusting those assurances.
We walked well into the tunnel this evening to investigate, and stopped here. Moments ago, we heard what truly sounded like a man groaning in pain. I had heard the same sound many times during my service as an officer in the Union Army. Yet, when we turned up the wicks of our lamps, there was nobody in sight. We stand here alone, in the cold silence, hearts pounding. I'll admit, I haven't been gripped by this kind of fear since Shiloh. We both agree it was not the wind that we heard.
On the night of June 25th, 1872, James McKinstry, the director of drilling operations, entered the great excavation at 11:30 p.m. He was accompanied by Dr. Clifford Owens, a physician and friend of McKinstry.
We stood there a couple of minutes, taking stock of the situation, and were about to turn back when suddenly we heard a strange and mournful sound. It was the sound of great suffering. Then we saw a dim light coming towards us through the shaft. I thought it must be a workman with a lantern. Yet as it drew closer, it took on a strange blue color and began to form a shape. It now looked like a human being, but with no head. It floated along about a foot above the tunnel floor. In that moment, the temperature in the shaft dropped dramatically, and I felt icy chills run up and down my spine. The headless thing came so close. I could reach out and touch it, but I was too terrified to move. For what seemed like an eternity, Dr. Owens and I stood there like two wooden Indians, gaping at this headless thing. Then it came closer, like it was looking us over. Then it floated off, down to the end of the shaft, and vanished into thin air.
On February 9th, the first commercial train ventured through the Hoosick Tunnel. But the story doesn't end there. The shocking and mysterious events of its construction are still recounted to this day. After 150 years, unsettling tales still circulate.
I can't believe the pharaoh is dead. He was so young. His tomb will not be ready for years. What caused his earthly death? Can you tell if he was murdered?
Quite. We must begin mummification. Let the spiritual journey to the afterlife begin. Insert a hook through the nostril hole to extract a portion of the brain. Make an incision on the body's left side near the abdomen. Prepare the canopic jars. Remove lungs. Remove stomach. Remove intestines. Remove liver. Place the heart in its original position within the body. Remove eyeballs. Place small onions.
Now we cleanse the interior of the body with a mixture of wine, herbs, and spices.
Cover the deceased body with natron for exactly 70 days. Is the sarcophagus being readied?
Yes.
The face mask?
Yes, but what will protect the king until he is safely inside his tomb?
The curse. The thieves will stay away because the curse will bring bad luck, illness, and death. That curse whispered in the winds by the ancients to guard their sacred domain. Don't you remember what it said? Let those who dare disturb the pharaoh's slumber beware, as they risk unleashing a fury transcends mortal understanding. Those who trespass upon this eternal slumber awaken a vengeful spirit and the wrath of the gods that slumber with him. Present the scroll.
As for all men who shall enter this my tomb, impure, there will be judgment. An end shall be made for him. I shall seize his neck like a bird. I shall cast the fear of myself into him. Cursed be those who disturb the rest of a pharaoh, that they shall break the seal of this tomb and show me death by a disease that no doctor can diagnose.
Now we shall have a feast with the organs that we've extracted from the deceased body. My assistant, care for a taste of the heart.
Yes, Animus.
Anyone care to try the lungs? Nobody? Going once, going twice. Osiris, that's more for us.
Thank you, Animus.
Of course. Some wine for me too, perhaps. Now we shall have a feast with bugs, such as scorpions, a spider, and a snake. Scorpion, anyone? Don't be shy. He doesn't bite. He's very friendly. Come on. Come closer. Come try. Suit yourself. Osiris, that's all yours.
Thank you, Animus.
Of course. Now, if you'll excuse us, we need our privacy to worship my poor pharaoh. My beautiful pharaoh. So young, so sad.
Dearly beloved,
We are gathered here today to pay tribute to the indelible mark that Elisha H. Ray left in the hearts and lives of everyone he touched. It is in these moments that we find ourselves reflecting on the value of a life well lived, but a life cut short at age 26. We stand witness to the tragic death of yet another member of the Ray family, following his brother Lemuel and his father Horace, all doomed to die, consumed by this horrific disease that plagues humanity. When we die, we leave our earthly body to go to the heavenly body. He that has wrought in us, at home the body does grow, and is burdened that his mortality might be swallowed up in everlasting life. Let us be confident that the spirit of Elisha lives on eternal. Go in peace. Amen.
This is creepy. I haven't been here since Elisha's burial 2 years ago. So, what is this plan you speak of? The plan to save Henry from dying of consumption?
My wise old grandfather used to tell me about a small family gravesite on the edge of town. The family members kept dying, and they believed they were infected by the dead coming back, and they took their sustenance from the blood of the living. So, they exhumed the body in the dead of the night, decapitated the skull, and broke and rearranged the legs to keep him in his grave. And to be sure, they put stone slabs around and on top of the coffin.
But that's what they do to vampires. You're crazy. You think he's a vampire? Are you suggesting we dig up Elijah? We can't do it.
We're desperate. There's no cure for tuberculosis. I'm suggesting we burn the bodies of both brothers, Elijah and Lemuel. Then they will really be dead.
I feel bad for Henry and his wife, and his kids are all sick with consumption, and the whole family could die. But isn't body snatching illegal?
They won't be able to pin this on you. I've already dug them up. No how we burn them. If this doesn't work, God help us all. Let's start with his heart.